Hi there, cinephiles. How are we doing today? Is it alright? It is Monday, so it's time for our movie review, and I'm sorry it's coming uploaded a little late. But the movie we're reviewing, which is Jurassic Park Rebirth, we saw the 10:50 today. And so we just got home. I'm spitting it out right now. Overall, I really enjoyed this film. You do not need to see the Jurassic World trilogy to understand it. You don't really even have to see the Jurassic Park ones. They do have a couple of throwbacks to the very first Jurassic Park, so it would help if you saw that, but I don't think it's not like if you don't watch them, you're not going to understand. You will definitely understand. There were also a couple scenes where it was like almost recreating ones from Jurassic Park, but in their own way. It was kind of, let's scoosh this up a little bit, but it was it was really good. I will say one thing: all of the dinosaurs were CGI'd, except for maybe a couple of shots where it wasn't focused on the dinosaur and they just had the prop there. So I personally missed having the animatronic dinosaurs because I think it makes it a little more realistic. Um, but they had some really fascinating. It's a really interesting storyline. Where all the prior Jurassic Park movies, the people in them are mostly motivated by money. Like, hey, we're gonna get tons of money. Hey, we're gonna do this. Spared no expense. Da 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 da. And I will say, there are three types of people in this movie. There's the ones that were motivated by money, which was most of them. And then there are people who were there coincidentally, like solely by accident. And then there was one who was there just because they are a nerd and they like love dinosaurs and they found it amazing. And like that person was my favorite. Like it was fantastic. Like nerding out. That character did have a weird habit of chewing on Altoids because who chews on a mint? That drove me nuts. Um, but like he was just nerding out the whole time about the dinosaurs, which was kind of cool. Like you can tell he was there because of passion and not because of money, and I truly enjoyed that. Um, there is a heart wrenching scene. Um, I think if I was a little more emotional, I probably would have cried, but I didn't. I will say, just like when they talk about in the Jurassic World movies, they have to make bigger and better dinosaurs because that's what people want. They do follow that along, and so the big bad dinosaur in this one, to me, does not fit. Like they've mutated it far too much. That to me, it seems like it belongs more in Lord of the Rings than a dinosaur movie. Um, the other ones were kind of along that lines, but not to the extent of this one. Um, yeah, I didn't like that one. That one dinosaur kind of took me out of it, but the rest of the storyline was really good. There are a couple characters who were like, "Yeah, I want you to die," and then there are a couple characters like, "Oh no," and then there's one that I went back and forth of whether or not I wanted them to die or not, just because, in Jurassic Park, in the original trilogy, the more violent your death on screen, the worse character you are in the movie. Um, and that kind of goes along here as well, um, sort of. The dialogue was really cool. They do have a scene that gets you in right away, and then it cuts to like giving backstory. Um, that part was really dry, and they spent a lot of time on it, but that backstory is not really needed for the storyline, unless there are scenes that they cut. But if they cut that, then they could have cut this. So like the first scene takes maybe like 10 minutes and it gets you and it has you, sort of. Personally, well, I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to spoil anything. But then like the next like 30 minutes is kind of dry. And you're just like, okay. The only redeeming quality is that the nerdy one kind of, you can see that. I will say pay attention to the dialogue because there are some lines in there that are very profound. And I highly recommend you listening to them. Um, They do have the original Jurassic Park motif. They only have one other song in there. It comes in at a weird time. I think it was mostly just for comic relief. And there's one character that there is there solely for comic relief. That was the one that I kind of went back and forth of whether or not I wanted them to die. Um, I will say, and I think I mentioned this already, that there are scenes that are there that I feel like they were trying to recreate scenes from Jurassic Park. And that was really cool. Um, they didn't like leave it open for a sequel, but they didn't close it either. So like it could be a standalone depending on I think they're waiting to see how well it does in theaters. Um I will say there oh, sorry, I brain frog. There is no after credit scene. So you don't need to stay for that. Um I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do recommend seeing it in theaters at least once. Um I know excuse me. I know that I will be buying excuse me again. Well, by buying it on DVD, not just because I'm that kind of a junkie of the Jurassic movies, but also because I want to see the scenes that they took out. I want to see if there's a little bit more in there. It is kind of a long movie, so make sure you go to the bathroom beforehand too. Um, that is all I'm going to tell you. So I hope you enjoy the show. Bye.